the West Basin regular board meeting for February 24th. I believe it's 1:10. Mr. General Manager, do we have a quorum?
I'll call roll call. Director Desi Alvarez. Here. Director Scott Houston. Here. Director Don Deere. Here. President Gloria Gray.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Now we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see. Let's ask Joe, our General Counsel, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Happy to. We can all stand and put our hands over our heart and stay together. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Joe. The comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, Madam President, this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to speak that is joining us virtually, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Madam President, in the room today, we do have Mr. Stephen Carpenter from Jacobs that has indicated that he'd like to make public comment.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. As you mentioned, I'm Steve Carpenter with Jacobs. I have some comments here I'm going to read from Mr. Rich Nagel in regards to item 8.6, which is up for consideration today. President Gray, board members, General Manager Caldwell, and staff. I regret I could not be here in person due to a recent medical procedure. Thankfully, I'm on the mend, and yes, Director Deere, I am working on losing some weight. Today, I would like to recognize the board, staff, and the entire organization on this significant milestone in which, after 30 years, this organization has competitively procured the operations and maintenance services for your Edward C. Little water recycling and satellite facilities. By all accounts, this has been the most rigorous procurement in the contract operations industry, and we can assure you, your staff has left no stone unturned. This contract agreement and scope of services will bring you what you deserve: high quality, cost-effective services for your ratepayers. Your staff is to be commended because they challenged all parties to be their best version of themselves, which results in the best version of West Basin. We are very humbled, honored, and most importantly, thrilled to be selected to be a partner with West Basin. As Jacobs executives, you have my personal commitment, backed up by our entire Jacobs Corporation, to bring West Basin excellent problem-solving and can-do abilities, a healthy culture, cost-effective solutions, and innovative services. Yes, we have some work to do negotiating final agreement terms and the scope of services, but I'm 100% confident we will get there. And we cannot wait to get started. And I hope to see you all very soon. That's
Thank
Rich.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For myself, as the proposed project manager, I just want to reiterate how humbled I am to even be considered. I can assure you I have the full backing of Jacobs and all of our resources to assure this partnership is successful. And I'm excited to get here and get on the ground and continue the partnership. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
Madam Chair, I've not received any requests for additional public comment.
All right, close public comments. The next item is our presentation. The first one is grain barrel distribution event, volunteer group check presentation. Under presentations, we're going to recognize several groups that volunteered and assisted West Basin with its rain barrel distribution program. Each year, West Basin provides free rain barrels to residents throughout our communities as a way to help conserve water and reduce water runoff. The success of our rain barrel giveaway event is due in no small part to the time and effort to volunteer groups that help our team manage all the cars that drive in to pick up sites and help load the rain barrels into the vehicles. And residents are there at 6 in the morning, so it's a very popular event. West Basin is going to recognize 4 volunteer groups today. I'm going to ask each group to come up so we can recognize you, take a photo, and present you with a check. The first group is from Division 1. Before I bring up the group, I want to start by recognizing and thanking Harold Williams for all his support of the Rain Barrel program over the years. While he is no longer on the board, he has been a wonderful advocate of the program, attending and assisting alongside volunteers in many of the events in his division. And I'm sure that all of you, the ones who are here today, have met Director Williams, and as I've indicated, he's no longer on the board, but he's played a vital part in this board and certainly in this particular program. I would now like to recognize Palos Verdes Peninsula High School. Do we have any representatives here with us today? If so, please come up and join us. And I'd like to ask the full board to come up, please.
Do it in front of the blue wall.
Yeah, it's fine. Gonna do it here, so.
I'm Mariko Hama. I'm the PTSA president of Peninsula.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm Mariko Hama. I'm
Hello.
the PTSA. Don was my mayor from.
You have to stay next to Don. And how much are we presenting today?
It's $3,000.
$3,000. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And give the volunteers, the kids, regards, please.
I will.
Here's the real check.
The important one,
Yeah, you don't want to leave with. I like the big one.
Would you like to say a few words, Miss? Would you like to say a few words? You can use that mic.
Stay here.
Chair back.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
You stay here.
Good afternoon, members of the board and members of the community. Thank you so much for putting on programs such as the water barrel distribution. It was my first time that I became aware of such a program, and it was such a great success. We had so many positive comments from members of the community that were very excited and to receive the water barrels. And our students really enjoyed working at that event. They said it was one of the funnest events that they've ever done. So we hope that you'll come back to Peninsula High School. Thank you.
Thank you again. The next 2 groups we're recognizing today come from my division, Division 2. Those groups are the Omega Jets Club from Morningside High School, and the other group is Fly Vista Jobs. Can we please have the representatives from Morningside High School come up and join us, please? Morningside High.
Chair. Yeah, we're the chairs down. Chairs here.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes.
Oh, they did. They're coming up. Separately.
You want to talk?
Yeah. Want to come over a little bit?
And then just shift the one shot down a little bit further. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
There we go.
How's that?
That's perfect. You go ahead. Yeah, perfect. No, that's perfect. All right. Take photos. Thank you.
Like big. Is anybody here from Fly Vista, John?
Yes, there is a young lady here.
Was that?
There's the young lady here from the other one, but we're gonna let him say it at the next one. Thank you, Whitney. You want to say a few words?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to say, thank you so much for this, presentation here. The Omega Gents has been doing this program now. I think this is our 4th year. I mean, over 4 years doing this. And, hopefully we'll be able to do it again on next year because, the kids enjoy it. And not only that, this donation really comes in handy when we go on the HBCU tours and also for scholarships that we, the Omega Gents give out.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
And I'm.
$1,500.
Good.
Thank you.
Congratulations, give her. We also have the representative from Fly Vista Jobs join us for a photo.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Here.
I want to send this to this young man right here.
That's perfect.
Good.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What's say a few words? Oh, here's the check.
The real chair. I can't just go back to the office.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. I'm with PV Jobs. I think this is our 3rd or 4th year as well. And we enjoy it every year. We bring our participants that are in our program and go volunteer their time on Saturday morning. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, the third and final group is from Division 5, which is Director Deere, Don Deere Division. Joining us today are representatives from Junipero Sierra High School. Please come and join us for the photo. Any representative, please? Wow. Sarah High School.
Okay, here we go.
All the students are.
Okay.
Welcome.
Why don't you all come down this way? Stand on this side. Yes.
In the back.
Rose.
And then President Brady to this side.
Where's Scott? Over here. Yeah.
Over there.
Then, yes, move over. So Director Deere can hold on to that check too. How does that work? Do they need to shoot the chip down to the left a little bit?
If possible.
Yeah, let's see if we can move down this way a little bit. We're gonna go for a ride, Director Deere. How's that? Does that look good?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
That's closer to this.
Dude, free ride.
That is perfect.
All
I'm
right.
gonna take a few photos. Everyone look at me. Then I.
Thank
Photos well, so-
1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Who would like to say?
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay.
You see everything?
I'll put you back.
Okay, thanks. There we go. Thank you.
Ready to go?
You okay? Replace your member. Thank you.
Yeah.
I need simple connections like primary qualification. I'll tell you why you should choose. Change the name.
On behalf of the Sarah community, we would like to thank you. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for this donation. I know that we all really enjoy doing this and help volunteer. So we just appreciate it and we hope that we can come back next year and do it all again.
Thank you very much. Young man, what's your name?
Grace Carter,
And how much is the check?
Envelope, please.
3,000.
Wow, ready. Congratulations. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as we close this program out for this year, you're leaving? Thank you again for coming, all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, students. Thank you for being here. As we close this program out for this fiscal year, I just want to reiterate how important volunteering is to this program. We couldn't do these rain barrels events without the help of our parent partners. They all did a great job. So let's please give them all a final round of applause. Daryl has been doing this for many, many years. So Daryl, stand up and give him a round. And Gus, Daryl, I guess is always there in you too, but thank you guys.
Did you bring them a check for 3,000 or did you forget it?
You think you guys don't get a check now? Hold in there though. All right, so the next item, a recognition of Women's History Month. Next month, March is Women's History Month. This month is Black History Month. And we did recognize Black History Month late in February so that we would be able to do some things to recognize that month. But this month, we're recognizing Women's History Month. And so with that, I do have a presentation to make. It's a resolution that the board has done. And I will ask the general manager to read it. You want to come up and read it? Oh, I do have my glasses. I can read it. I thought I did have my glasses. Thank you, EJ. Thank you. West Basin Municipal Water District Proclamation, Women's History Month, March 2025. Whereas Women's History Month has been annually observed in the United States since 1987 to celebrate and honor women of every race, class, and ethnic background who have made contributions to the nation's history, society, and culture in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas Women's History Month celebrates this year's theme of moving forward together, women educating and inspiring generations, which focuses on the collective strength and influence of women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership, serving as inspiration for all generations in both the past and present. And whereas Women's History Month recognizes that women have been on the front lines as leaders, fighting for and securing equal rights and opportunity throughout our country's history as civil rights leaders, suffragists, and labor activists. And whereas Women's History Month promotes the importance of recognizing the sacrifices made by women for women to help make our country and the world a fairer, safer place for all. Now therefore be it proclaimed for the month of March 2025 that we, the Board of Directors of West Basin Municipal Water District, hereby observe Women's History Month as an annual celebration to honor the generations of trailblazing women who have built America, and West Basin's own commitment to recognize the women who contributes to our communities. And so with that, the board, we have all 4 board members as well as myself signature here. And I want to say that I am proud to be a woman in this society. There are many women in this organization here at West Bay who've done tremendous things for the organization. I think that all of the women here are trailblazers. They always contribute a lot to what we do here at West Basin. So thank you to the women here at West Basin for what you do. And thank you to women all around the world because we need to be part of the equation and the discussion. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to come up so we can take a picture. One last comment. I do want to make a comment. I know last month, or this month is Women's History, is a Black History Month. And I am also proud to be an African-American woman. And I've had great opportunities, and I know Black history is all about honoring those before us who have made tremendous contributions to America. But we also need to look forward and continue the fight for equality, social justice, and fairness for everyone. And so with that, I'd like to ask the board to come up, please.
Chair shuffle.
Okay. Maybe Don,
Yeah.
Don, why don't you hold this?
Move us.
Uh-oh.
Whichever one is shift. Am I right there?
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold it that way, that's perfect.
Do you want it? Do you mind holding this here down
Sure.
here so it doesn't flip over?
Is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not working.
That's. Thank you.
Mike, as I represent my colleagues and present this to you.
Oh. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Does any board member want to make any comments regarding Women's History Month or anything at this moment?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
as a history teacher, I've said many times that we are in the century of the woman. There's so much progress being made, but there's still more to come.
Any other comments?
Sure, I would just echo what my colleague, Director Deere said, and of course, very glad that we as a district honor Women's History Month as that comes up next month, and of course, Black History Month this month. In West Basin, as I've said many times before, this is extremely diverse water district, our service area, our employees. I think at least around half of our employees are women, if I'm not mistaken, EJ, actually higher than half, right? So, we really, we walk the walk and talk the talk, but so much progress has been made over, a couple centuries in this country, but there's a lot more to do. And I don't think we can ever sit on our laurels. We have to do everything we can to make sure that women have every opportunity, just the same as men. So thank you, Madam President. And I'm so glad again that West Basin is possible. Sister.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'll just echo the comments made by all of you so far. And women are very important to this organization, and I think they're very well recognized. And I believe, if my recollection is right, we even had a woman general manager for a short period of time, many, many, many years.
All right, thank you, board members. Item 6, items too late to be agendized.
Staff has no items too late to be agendized.
Thank you. Item 7, consent calendar. Is there any item that anyone wish to pull? All right, we will consider the entire consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion? All right, can you call the roll, please?
Is he, what you gonna vote no on something?
You should have voted.
Director Desi Alvarez,
I am gonna vote yes on the consent calendar with the exception of item 3, where I would like to be recognized as a no vote on item 3.2 and 3.3, and a yes vote on item 3.1.
Can you repeat that?
I'm voting yes on item 3.1 and no on items 3.2 and 3.3, and yes on the rest of the consent calendar.
Director Scott Houston.
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Item 8, action calendar. Item 8.1, appoint deputy treasurer, board of directors. Recommendation that the board appoints deputy treasurer. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes, Madam Chair. This first item on our action calendar, as noted, was actually originally discussed at the end of January at our regular scheduled board meeting, where the board of directors elected their board officers. One of the positions included the appointment of the deputy treasurer. And at that time, our CFO position was vacant. I'm very pleased to introduce Wendy O'Kelly, who's joining West Basin Municipal Water District as our new Chief Financial Officer. And with that, I'll hand it over to Desiree Quintero for the presentation of this item.
Good afternoon, directors. West Basin Municipal Water District Administrative Code, Section 2-1.202, officers of the board states the board shall reorganize in January of each year at its first regular meeting by electing one of its members president. At the same time, the board may also select a vice president who shall be a board member, a treasurer, a secretary, who may be members of the board, and a deputy treasurer and deputy secretary who will be district staff members. The election of officers of the board of directors was conducted at the regular board meeting on Monday, January 27th. The current board officers are as follows: Gloria Gray, president; Donald Deere, vice president; Scott Houston, treasurer; Desi Alvarez, secretary. In addition, the board also appointed Desiree Quintero to serve as deputy secretary. The appointment of deputy treasurer was deferred until the chief financial officer position was filled. With the position filled as of February 10th, staff is recommending that the board appoint a deputy treasurer.
Great. And so what would the name be?
Wendy O'Kelly. And Wendy, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself to the board of directors.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Gray and Board of Directors. I'm Wendy O'Kelly. I come from about 10 years in local municipal government and about another 9 years in the private sector doing finance, working as a finance manager. I'm just honored to be here, honored to contribute to the professional staff, this esteemed board, and just being a part of West Basin Municipal Water District.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to appoint?
I move we appoint Wendy O'Kelly as deputy treasurer.
Second. We have a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion, please call the roll.
Director Desi Alvarez,
Yes.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
and President Gloria Gray.
Yes. Thank you. Item 2, reschedule for April and May board meetings. And can you read the recommendation and any other information you can provide?
Yes, Madam Chair, our regularly scheduled board meetings are on the fourth Monday of each month. However, when those dates must change, we bring an action item to the Board of Directors. And for this presentation today, we have Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration.
Thank you, AJ. In April, the West Basin Municipal Water District's regular board meeting is scheduled to be held on Monday, April 28th, 2025. At this time, the annual Washington, D.C. legislative trip is also scheduled for April 28th, 2025. As several board members are scheduled to attend the legislative trip, staff recommends that the board consider rescheduling the regular board meetings scheduled for Monday, April 28th, 2025 to Thursday, April 24th, 2025 at 1 p.m. In addition, in May, the West Basin regular board meeting is scheduled to be held on Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, following the Memorial Day holiday. Due to the holiday, the meeting now conflicts with MWD's scheduled executive committee meeting. Staff recommends that the board consider rescheduling the regular board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 to Wednesday, May 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m. So without the recommendation, that the board consider rescheduling the regular board meeting scheduled for Monday, April 28th, 2025 to Thursday, April 24th, 2025 at 1 p.m. and the meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 to Wednesday, May 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m.
I move we approve the recommendation.
There's a second on the motion. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Can you please call the roll?
Director Desi Alvarez,
Yes.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deers.
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Yes. Item 3, consider sponsorship of fiscal year 2024-25 community outreach events. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam President. This item was not heard in the February Finance and Administrative Committee meeting. Therefore, we are bringing it to the Board of Directors in order to meet the dates and requirements of the 10-day notice. And this item is related to the El Segundo Kiwanis Club's Chili Palooza event. And so for this presentation, we do have Haza Vasquez.
Good afternoon, President Gray, members of the board. If I can turn your attention to packet page 83, where item 8.3 begins. As EJ mentioned, we do have just the one item for your consideration today. The El Segundo Kiwanis Club is hosting its annual Chili Palooza event on Saturday, March 29, 2025. At this time, Director Houston is requesting consideration for West Basin to sponsor the Chili Palooza event in the amount of $1,000. And that would grant West Basin a booth/table to distribute district information, as well as an advertisement promoting district awareness. In addition to the sponsorship, that sponsorship would also include logo placement on event flyers and other collateral. West Basin has previously sponsored this event, most recently in fiscal year 23-24 in the same amount of $1,000 and received similar benefits. Additional information regarding the sponsorship request can be found in attachment A, and that begins on packet page 85. Just looking now onto page 84 to discuss the fiscal impact. With your approval of the consent calendar, there were a couple sponsorship items that have already been approved. So what you see here is taking that into account. So out of the $75,000 annual budget that we have for community outreach events, there was a balance of $37,000 and some change before those were approved. As of now, we do have a remaining balance of $35,150 with the approval of the item in the consent calendar. So details for that can be found in attachment B, and that would be on packet page 90. And now to read the recommendation, Director Houston recommends that the board consider sponsoring the El Segundo Kiwanis Club Chili Palooza event scheduled to be held on Saturday, March 29, 2025 in the amount of $1,000. And I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion regarding the recommendation?
Move it.
I'll second it. Any discussion on the item?
I'll just say, Madam President, we did this last year, of course, as Haza mentioned, the same amount. And it's a very good community event. Of course, we have a booth there, so we have an opportunity to get in front of a lot of constituents, not just in El Segundo, but those who come to this function as well. And of course, the Kiwanis Club is the beneficiary. So I'd like to thank my colleagues for your consideration.
I have a question. What does the money go toward?
For this particular one, what the Kiwanis Club has shared with us is that proceeds from the event go through to their specific programs that support kids' causes, school teams, clubs, sports clubs, athletics, and things of that sort.
So it has nothing to do with water.
Well,
Thank you.
depending on the kids' causes.
I understand. I will not be supporting this particular request. I don't think it's an appropriate expense of our ratepayers' money. That would be my comment.
We could put a dunk tank in there. That would have some.
That would be
Good fun.
an interesting.
Any further comment? All right, then can you call the roll, please?
Director Desi Alvarez,
No.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
All right, thank you. The next item is, let's see, Item 4, consider fiscal year 2024 25 district sponsorship request. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, Madam President, this item was heard by the Finance and Administrative Committee on February 18th. At that time, the staff discussed with the committee and board members present some concepts of identifying specific opportunities for West Basin Municipal Water District to support and sponsor the upcoming Association of California Water Agency Spring Conference. So for this presentation, we do have Carla Hewitt, our executive assistant.
EJ, good afternoon, President Gray, members of the board. As EJ mentioned, this item is presented today as a follow-up to the discussion held by the Finance and Administration Committee that yielded our recommendation for staff to look into alternatives for a sponsorship of this event in the $15,000 to $3,000 range. The Association of California Water Agencies is hosting its spring conference and expo on May 13th to the 15th, 2025 at the Monterey Conference Center in Monterey, California. ACWA, as you're aware, is the largest statewide coalition of public water agencies whose mission you're familiar with. They hold two of their most representative events of the year in February and November with the spring and fall conferences, which we have sponsored in the past. As we can see on the screen, sponsorship levels for this year range from $15,000 and above to $1,000 and above at the bronze level. And the information that we bring in today as a result of the item that you tasked us with last week is actually a recommendation to look into items that are related to activations in the main stage and educational sessions. The conference and the benefits that you may see in your agenda packet that list attendee lists and things like complimentary registrations and logo exposure in certain places. They are the what, the how of how those sponsored dollars are used is actually in the activations. Activations are on-site branding benefits available for sponsors to choose from in order to determine when and where in the conference they would like to show their brand. Opportunities to meet the bronze and silver levels include activations on the main stage, meal functions, educational sessions, the conference floor itself, printed collateral, mobile app, with main stage and educational sessions being among the most impactful choices, both in terms of how many people can look at these forums or specific locations in the forums, or how many people attend any given session. The district most recently sponsored this event in 2023 and 2024 at the bronze level with $1,000. And sponsorship details can be found in the attachment A beginning on page 93 of your agenda package. Participation in outreach events provides West Basin opportunities to connect with the communities it serves, create and strengthen relationships with stakeholders, and to stay up to date with new industry trends. For the fiscal impact, funds for the proposed sponsorship are included in the fiscal year 2024-2025 sponsorship budget in the amount of $55,000, with the current balance being $8,000 as shown in attachment B on page 103 of your agenda packet. With that, I'm going to move to the recommendation. That the board consider approving sponsorship of the 2025 Aqua Spring Conference and Expo to be held at the Monterey Conference Center in Monterey, California from Tuesday, May 13 to Thursday, May 15, 2025 in the amount of $1,500. $1,500 is an amount sufficient to sponsor one policy program session. These are sessions held for a period of an hour where attendees can participate and access educational credits. We would get a logo displayed at the entrance of the session, as well as advertisement in the program through the mobile app. And with that, I'm open for any questions you may have.
Are there any questions?
Not so much a question, but a comment. We are members of Aqua, and we pay a membership fee of a little over $31,000 a year to be a member of that organization. And I'm supportive of that. And the organization does represent water agencies throughout the state of California and the water industry. Um, Beyond that, the use of the sponsorship originally came and comes from the need for private sector organizations that are not direct members of Aqua in the same sense as water agencies to have an opportunity to market themselves, et cetera. I think that for this agency and agencies in general that are already members of the organization to be sponsored is not fairly a good use of money. And this will be the second time we will be sponsoring them. We sponsored the winter conference, which was just held in December, to the tune of $6,500. So far, in addition to our dues for Aqua, we've spent over $38,000 on Aqua, and this is an additional request. I think this money would be better used for helping out our disadvantaged communities if we could somehow reallocate the money in that direction instead of continuing to sponsor these events. So I will not be supporting it.
Right, any other comment?
Quick question. And what was it, Carla, you said we are looking at sponsoring, it was the, like an educate, what was it again? It was a roundtable?
It's a program policy sessions. These are 1 hour long educational sessions that attendees can choose to attend. There are a variety of them. So it's really at the attendee discretion where they want to go. So we would be assigned one, and this would also allow the opportunity of Aqua attendees from West Basin to interact with individuals attending the conference in a forum where they are recognized as sponsors.
Okay, very good, because I know that we had sent you all back from F&A committee to look at some options and upwards of $1,500 instead of, potentially just the lowest level of 1,000. So that's what it sounds like we've settled upon. But that gives us everything at the 1,000 level included too, right?
Yes.
All the benefits. Okay. So I'm satisfied with it, and I would move staff's recommendation on this one, Madam Chair.
Second. All right, any further discussion on
I have
that?
a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Just following up on Director Houston. So what else did we get for our $6,500 in the fall conference that was held in December?
So I think, let me touch on this a little bit because I want to make sure that it's very clear as to what it is we're doing. So when we sponsored at the $6,500 level at the last event, which was ultimately the December event, they do their events on the calendar year, whereas West Basin, we budget on a fiscal year. And so as such, these sponsorships are collective sponsorships over 2 events. And so what staff had recommended at the committee level was that we look for specific things to invest in rather than do a lump sum or sponsorship to those events. And so I don't know necessarily that we're aware, maybe Carla knows the specific things that we got out of the 6,500.
I am happy to elaborate if it pleases the board. The gold level, and if it's okay, I'm going to read it because they don't really change much of these from conference to conference. There are little things that in and on itself may not be as attractive, which I will fully acknowledge, like getting the ribbon with the sponsor, recognition, but there are other things that do have a monetary value for the district, like complimentary registrations. So say for the fall conference at $6,500, we in the cumulative total for the year, we're able to get 2 complimentary registrations back for use this calendar year, which have already been assigned and accounted for future events with Aqua. Director Alvarez, I believe you have asked in the past how much the registration fees for this conference are to be able to look at it in the context of how much we sponsored. So these registrations are about $950 each. So out of the 6,500 for the full conference, we would have recovered about $2,000 or $1,900 in registration fees. In addition to that, we do get the brand exposure benefits. We have recognition in the conference mobile app. We have our name or logo depending on the level, but for the fall conference, our logo displayed in banners at the entrance we receive a comprehensive database of attendees before the conference and after the conference. We are listed as sponsors in the Aqua website throughout the year, just to name a few of the things that we do get. And I will say that Aqua has always been very open to our feedback in terms of how to maximize the value of the sponsorship dollars that the board decided to allocate. And we were able to get a $500 discount on one of the items for the conference. So we are very appreciative of the opportunity to work with sponsorships and have that chance of maximizing value for the district to the best of our capacity. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, thank you. You answered one of my questions. I was going to follow up that. So the two registrations are about $1,900. So for that, we saved $1,900, but we spent $6,500. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question, but I think she identified quite a lot of benefits, even though in terms of money, $2,000, I think, or what's the 900 and some dollars?
And the value of the complimentary registrations that a sponsor would get for the gold level is 2. Those are usually priced at $950. So that's what we would get in the calendar year.
1900. Okay, well, we use acronyms around here, AQUA, so I hope everybody in the audience know what that means, but it's a very large organization in the water industry, very important. I think they do great work, and I do understand that we have to be conscious of how we spend ratepayers' money, but I think supporting organizations like AQUA is very beneficial to West Basin as well as the industry and what we do, what our mission is all about. So any other discussion? I think we call the vote.
Director Desi Alvarez,
No.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Let's see, where are we? Item 5, adopt resolution number 02-25-1220, approving state and local cybersecurity grant for government's program from the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. This item was heard by the Finance and Administrative Committee on February 18th. At that time, the committee recommended approval of the item because it is a resolution was added to action calendar for today's meeting.
What page?
This item begins on packet page 104. And for this presentation, we do have Matt Bay, our Manager of Water Policy and Resources Development.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, President Gray and directors. I believe that all 4 directors were on hand at the F&A committee last week, so I'll just be very brief. This is an item. Late last year, staff applied to a grant through the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services for the state and local cybersecurity grant for government's program. Staff was successful in being awarded that grant for the maximum amount of $250,000. I do want to recognize Isaiah Suarez, who submitted the application in conjunction with my team, Tammy High and Augustine Hahn. And so we provided an overview at the F&A committee of what the different parts of that grant would fund. It helped fund over the next 2 years. It has a 2-year period on it, so that expires at the end of 2026. And staff would welcome the board's adoption of this resolution, which is a requirement to formally accept the grant. If there are any questions, we're happy to take them.
Matt, any questions for Matt?
Move approval.
Second.
Right, any further discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Director Desi Alvarez,
Yes.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Yes. Item 6, approval to enter contract negotiations for operations and maintenance services at a water treatment facility. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam President. This next item begins on packet page 108. This item was discussed at length with our ad hoc for our operations and maintenance committee. For this presentation, we do have our Assistant General Manager, Eric Owens. But we also have Ms. Shanika Morris, who is our Contracts Administrator Supervisor, online joining us from the Parma Conference. And so I want to say thank you very much to her for joining us. And just for those out there, the Parma Conference is the Public Agency Risk Management Association. So she's joining us from Anaheim in case there are any questions related to the procurement process. So with that, I'll hand it off to Eric Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Good morning, President Gray and members of the board. Today, I would like to walk you through the process that led us into the action item.
Before you do that, I should note that it's after 2:00. It's not morning.
Did we go through this before, Eric?
No, ma'am. We have not been through a competitive process for operations and maintenance support previously. And in fact, this process really began in July of 2023 when the board asked for the formation of an ad hoc committee for all matters regarding West Basin's facility operations. In December of 2023, so over a year ago, West Basin's board approved the staff recommendation to authorize the general manager to initiate a request for proposal solicitation process. And that's where I'll begin on the presentation with a timeline from August of 2024 through today and beyond. And so, as I mentioned, the board has been contemplating procurement of these services for quite some time. Here on the slide, you see the current schedule for delivery of those services. And you may recall that in September of 2024, the ad hoc committee was presented with the specifications or the request for proposal, the draft version that was ready to be released to the industry for proposals to be received. This board authorized the release of that RFP in the September 23rd, 2024 board meeting, and that actually got uploaded and put out to the industry on October 7th. So that initiated essentially the 2-month or so proposal phase where teams were reviewing that document and preparing the offerings that they ultimately delivered to West Basin staff in December, I believe on December 20th, right before the holidays. So staff, of course, had been working feverishly to review those documents and prepare for interviews that have occurred. They occurred on over 2 days on January 21st and January 30th, so just over 3 weeks ago. Since that time, staff have met with the ad hoc committee twice. The first time to review the 2 highest point scores in the process to that point. I would note that there was from this selection, I won't go into a lot of the specific details about the scoring or the names of the other firms and how they did, because we do consider this to be an open procurement. As you saw from the title, this is really only an item to enter into negotiations with the selected firm. A contract award that may result in successful negotiations would come before this board in March at the board meeting for the consideration of a final contract. And so in early February, we did meet with the ad hoc committee to give them a status update following that proposal period. And at that time, it was decided that there was really a close enough scoring between the top two firms to go ahead and request what we call a BAFO, and I'll go a little bit more into detail in this presentation on that. But nonetheless, we received a best and final offer from 2 teams, and of course presented that again to the ad hoc, who supported the idea of coming forward today with today's action item of entering negotiations with Jacobs Solutions as the apparent winner of the solicitation. And so that brings us to today. For today's negotiation approval, as I mentioned, we will seek a contract approval, assuming that we are successful in the negotiations and can come to terms with the team by March 24th, 2025. And of course, that will initiate then a transition period for our operations before a contract start date, or an operations start date, I should say, roughly September 1st. What you have here is just some of those dates that have happened in the last month. I cannot stress enough how much work staff has put into this procurement process, not just at the beginning and throughout the advertisement period, but in this last month alone. You can see that through this BAFO process, we released a request for providing more information on February 7th. We had a Q&A period that allowed the teams to ask clarifying questions. We received these BAFOs, or best and final offers, on the 13th, and of course presented to the ad hoc committee on the 19th. And here we are today. So we can go to the next slide. I feel like we've jumped way to the end. Could you go back to number 2? Let's start back at the schedule. I apologize. There, and just click forward. You just click forward. There we go. Yeah, I think we skipped this one. So I just want to give a little bit of background about the process as a whole. This was leading into the original proposals that were delivered. The evaluation committee did consist of 4 internal West Basin staff and 2 outside panelists. The contracts department, led by Shanika, did initiate what we call a blackout period. This is where there was to be no contact with any of the potential proposers during the advertisement period by anyone unless procurement department was present, meaning it was an official meeting of sorts. And of course, that blackout period also meant that evaluators should not be comparing scores and notes. So we actually went into a blind scoring where each committee member scored the written or technical proposal as well as the interviews that occurred in late January, and did not share their opinions or their scores with each other, ultimately providing that information to the procurement department, who tallied the scores and ultimately came up with the averages that were used in order to make invitations to the proposers for the best and final offers. We can go to the next slide. So through that BAFO process, there were 2 teams that were ranked as and invited to submit that best and final offer. Their scores were pretty close. So we were very pleased with the level of input we got from the industry and the level of interest. But from that BAFO, or through that BAFO process, staff went ahead and created an org chart that was essentially to be priced to be consistent between the 2 teams so that they could offer us consistent pricing that we could use as a comparative price analysis for the purposes of deciding which team we should move forward with into negotiations. Those 2 teams were also asked to confirm some assumptions that we had following the first phases of the procurement process, and ultimately the recommended team for selection to enter into the negotiations of the contract are as shown here in the final bullet. Jacob Solutions was the recommended team, both having the highest number of points through the first phase of the procurement, as well as the lowest apparent price through the BAFO process. And we go to the next slide. I think I've already covered this one. I've already covered this one, so I won't go back on that. But again, it just shows that there was quite a bit of detail and work that went into this. So we're here today simply to ask for the board's approval of the selection of the team to enter into negotiations. Again, this does not result in a contract. If the negotiations with Jacob Solutions are successful over the course of the next month, staff will be back in front of the board with a contract in hand, looking for approval of that contract at the March 24th, 2024 board meeting. And as you see here in the next steps, we still have some details that we need to finalize through the final scope and fee with the selected team. We need to come to agreement on commercial terms and of course, ultimately sign to a point where both entities are prepared to sign a contract. That transition period begins in April 2025. And of course, this contract Specifically, the operations phase would begin in September 2025. And with that, I will read the recommendation. Be very clear because the recommendation is multi-parted. The recommendation is that the board authorize the general manager to negotiate an operations and maintenance services agreement for West Basin's recycled water treatment facilities with Jacob Solutions and bring a proposed contract for the board's approval at the March 24th, 2025 board meeting. In the event that negotiations reach an impasse, staff shall proceed to move forward into negotiations with the second-ranked team. Firm, excuse me. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions?
Madam President,
Yes.
what I'd like to do is move the staff's recommendation. I would like to add into that, though, if we could also have you look at requiring the contract with the new operator to include provisions of worker retention requirements, and also for our existing employees and for a labor peace agreement. So I'd like it if we could add that into the motion.
Can you restate it again?
Sure. Sorry. It's hard to hear in this room. I said I'd like to move the recommendation from staff, but I also just wanted to add in there were also would require staff to look into require the contract, the new operator include provisions for worker retention requirements for existing employees and for labor peace agreement. So I'd like to add that into the negotiations. That's my motion.
Any comments from the board, other board members? Director?
So when we say we're gonna retain existing, can you clarify what you mean by?
What I'm saying is that we just have it as part of what they're talking about, meaning that the new operator include provisions for worker retention requirements. So should something happen over the course of the contract, then there wouldn't be those disputes with current employees. That's my understanding.
I can say, Director, that we have every expectation that with the incoming team, because they will be looking to staff a facility of 50 plus employees. I have every expectation that they will begin with the employees that we already have on site, and they will go through a process whereby they will look to perhaps hire in folks from the existing contractor that may want to stay with the facility, not necessarily with the company. And through that process, they will need to vet each individual that they look to keep in order to make sure that that person is, certainly meets their corporate culture and structure and whatnot. So I think I'll defer to legal as to what we can require of them as far as retaining those employees, but I can say that we are certainly going to encourage them to try to keep as many of the existing staff as possible.
Yes, Director.
I'm very comfortable with the direction that staff was headed. I agree with Eric in that they're going to be looking to retain those employees that would like to stay for the facility and don't mind switching employers. But I don't want to prejudice anything in terms of mandating who they shall retain, because they do need to come in and evaluate the entire situation and retain those most qualified employees, should those employees wish to stay at the facility and switch employers. But I don't think we can go beyond that. So I'm more comfortable with the recommendation as it is. And I think that the understanding has always been that they will be looking to keep those qualified employees who want to stay.
Director Houston, could the language be requested? There's a discussion of those 2 points you made rather than require.
I think the way I'd like to look at it would be how did you say it, Director Gray? President Gray? Request on the worker retention requirements, but I would like you to look at a labor peace agreement.
You want to comment on that, staff? EJ or Eric or legal?
Might ask legal, just to touch on that, because I don't know how that would impact our current negotiations with the firm.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it more to know, I mean, generally know what they are, but I'm not as familiar with them and certainly could explore it during this process, but I'd be hesitant right now to off the cuff kind of say it should be requirements or know exactly how it would work within the context of us using a consultant and apply to them, I assume, and not us. But I have a few questions, I think.
Could
Use
we,
the language
could
explore,
we do the language that the president suggested
request and explore.
for these two? I would be okay with that.
Would you be okay with it?
I will second your motion to clarify that the motion is the staff recommendation with the addition as in the final negotiations that they explore the retention of current employees that want to continue to work at the facility and don't mind switching employers. And what did you call the other?
And also a labor peace agreement.
Peace agreement. Whatever that means.
And well, I would just touch on this. To my knowledge, I do not believe that our current contractor has any representative labor workers within their day-to-day operations. So I don't know, from my general understanding of a labor peace agreement, I don't know that that would apply necessarily with our current firm versus potentially a new firm.
So can we explore it and come back and report back to the board?
Yes.
So there's a second on the motion with the amendment. And no further discussion?
I just want to make sure it's clear. We have the motion clarity.
Did we move it?
We did. I do want to say something.
Okay.
Of a labor peace agreement.
Refuse.
And no, I just, what I would like to say before we vote is, I am really glad that we've gotten to this process. You know, you all mentioned it, you know, we have been, going through with the same contractor over many years, of the facility. I think it was the right thing for us to do to go out to the market and see what it had to offer. I know the staff has put in a tremendous amount of work on this, and I mean a lot of work. This is like our biggest contract at this agency. I would like to just say, please know that we appreciate it immensely. The other thing is that Director Alvarez and I really pushed our staff very hard to get to this point today. And they have worked diligently in the last couple of weeks to get to today's item on this agenda. So a lot of others may not realize that, but our staff, they've been working almost 24 hours a day on this the last couple of weeks. So I just want to say thank you. And again, I think this is in the best interest of this agency. So I'm glad that we are moving forward, and I do hope that the negotiations go well. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Director, and I echo exactly what he said. So thank you to staff. I mean, it's great to hear when folks work 24/7 because what we think the staff is committed is true. You guys are really hard workers and we appreciate everybody. Thank you to the ad hoc committee. I think it's Director Houston and Director Alvarez working on the project too. So
I'll make one more comment. Director Williams, of course,
was he part of
did
it?
most of the work, you know,
Oh,
before
Director
I came along.
Kudos to him too, Director
but-
Williams.
I kind of inherited when he left off, but at the same time, I jumped right in with Director Alvarez, and you know, we're committed to getting to the finish line. So, thank you.
What a great team. Thank you. All right, we'll call the roll. Thank you, Eric, for the presentation.
Director Desi Alvarez.
I'm voting yes on this, and I would like to also state that this is a very significant accomplishment for the district. The original contract for operations and maintenance was never publicly bid. It was pretty much given, and it's been over 35 years that was in place. I think that the district will be much better served moving forward with a operation and maintenance contract that was aggressively procured. I think that staff has spent an awful lot of time putting together some excellent procurement documents. And the role is just beginning because the real test will be once the contract's awarded and a new operations and maintenance contractor comes on board during that first 6 months to a year, that they're really held accountable standards in the agreement, because that will set the tone for the entire term of that agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. You voted
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
right?
voted
Did
yes.
you vote?
That was a long yes.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Yes. Okay, thank you. We've concluded the action item. 9, information calendar. Nothing there. Item 10, receive and file. There are a number of items. I think we've discussed them in committee. Is there any item, any of the board members would like to hear any?
Move that we receive and file.
All right, is there a second? All right, a vote, please.
Director Desi Alvarez,
Yeah.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
President Gloria Gray.
Yes. Item 11, general manager's activity report. Mr. Caldwell.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam President. You should have a hard copy there for you for your reference. And I know that we have emailed that out to you as well. So you also have an electronic copy. I do want to touch on a couple of things, and some might be repeats of some of the directors. But first and foremost, I do want to say, and she stepped away. I was going to say thank you very much to Wendy O'Kelly, who's joining us here for her first board meeting. She's jumped in to the deep end. We have a lot of issues and we're about to jumpstart our budget process. So wherever she is, I do want to say thank you for joining us. Secondly, I know it was touched on, but Gus Meza is a rock when it comes to all of our rain barrel events. Most of you are there and you get to see it firsthand, but for some of you in the room that have not been able to join us for those events, there are people that get there at 5-ish in the morning, start clearing the parking lots in order to make those events go smoothly as they do. If you're a little bit late, you're probably going to miss it because he gives about 3,000 rain barrels away within 1 to 2 hours. So it is impressive. And coordinating all of our attendees today and the check presentations, again, is just, it shows all of the detail and the work that goes into that. So thank you very much to Gus Meza. The grant that you approved a resolution for today, this is the direction of the West Basin Board of Directors to go out and basically turn over every rock and identify opportunities for us to partner with local, state, and federal partners to help us fund not just the work that we do here, but the work that we have to do. So I want to say thank you very much to everybody that was included as far as getting that grant. That's $250,000 that does not require a funding match from West Basin and funds programs that we would need to do anyway. So I want to say thank you to all of them. And then last but not least, and I know that both members of our ad hoc mentioned it, Director Scott Houston and Director Desi Alvarez, and he's not here, but Director Harold Williams. The work that we put into the O&M RFP has been more than a year in the making. It was required a handful of people. It's required consultants. We have worked tirelessly to get to where we are today. We are not there yet. We have to bring back a item for your consideration next month. I do know that we have our friends here from Jacobs joining us, but there is a lot of work to be done. And West Basin staff is dedicated to getting that done, but we need a very willing partner in Jacobs to get us there in order to bring that back. I do want to say thank you very much to our ad hoc committee because we have had a lot of meetings in order to get here and a lot of information has been processed. And I'm very pleased that each of the staff recommendations that have been brought before the ad hoc committee have also become ad hoc committee recommendations, which really shows the collective efforts and really that the information that we're getting from the ad hoc, we are listening and producing based off of that direction. So with that, Madam President, that's all I have outside of the written report, but I do want to say thank you very much to everybody joining us today.
General Counsel,
Madam
please.
President.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I just have a
Question.
suppose it'd be a quick question, maybe a bit of a comment, but a quick question from EJ, because I know he was there and it's in the report. So, just last week, right? Just last week was the city of Rancho Palos Verdes had that wildfire town hall. I'm not sure because it came together a little bit last minute from what I understand. But you were there, maybe Matt Bay was there. But can you just highlight what did happen and what was talked about up on the hill?
Yes, and to West Basin's credit, really the discussion was about a core aspect of something that we've been doing for the past several years, which is communicating to parts of our community that are really at risk of fire up in the Malibu and Topanga area, but also the Palos Verdes area. And a lot of people don't realize the peninsula is at risk. They get high winds, they have canyons, they have a lot of areas that are within that fire zone where those communities are at incredible risk. And ultimately, as our communities have seen the tragic events that happened in the Pacific Palisades and the Eaton fire and other areas around the city of Pasadena, Altadena. But our communities are asking questions, and they're asking the right questions. They're asking, are we prepared? Is our community prepared? And so I actually had a chance to attend a Rolling Hills Estates City Council meeting. They had to ask Metropolitan Water District to attend their council meeting to talk about the PV reservoir. You'll recall that in the Pacific Palisades, there is an empty reservoir up there. And so as these communities hear that, and they have questions. And so the city of Rancho Palos Verdes had a town hall meeting just last week. Assembly member Al Marasucci actually showed up because he's a resident of that community. But it really was a opportunity for the city, LA County Fire, the Sheriff's Department, West Basin Municipal Water District, Cal Water Service Company, and Metropolitan Water District to really talk about the collective efforts. And as you mentioned, Matt Bay did have a chance to present. It was exciting to hear that not only did West Basin represent our fire escaping classes and talk about it, but several of the other speakers were touching on our classes and what we've done for the community. And the LA County Fire Department talked about opportunities to fire escape your property, which really is what we're teaching and educating the community about. So it was a great event. They had a packed agenda. And I know that they had a lot of unanswered community questions because it was intended to answer a lot of those questions. So I think they had how many unanswered?
75 to 100.
75 to 100.
Place all of those unanswered questions onto their website. Share that information out. It's comprehensive.
But it was a great event, packed. We've been there because that's where our fire escaping classes take place is in that building. And so it's pretty full, and the speakers did a great job. I know it was virtually presented as well, so you could attend from the comfort of your home. But it was a great event, and we're very happy to have participated.
Very good. Well, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to, thank EJ and Matt for going up there, especially as we don't have a division representative at this moment. But also, Palos Verdes Peninsula has had the landslide issues going on. Of course, we've had the fires that hit to the north end of the district. And, PV was on high alert too when the winds were blowing. We've done the fire escaping workshops both on the north end of our district as well as on the south end. And actually, the reason we went down to Palos Verdes in the past was because of the success talking to Malibu and Topanga. And so, we have to do everything we can to inform the residents as to the water reliability, wildfire suppression. I mean, in the midst of very bad situations, at least more people are aware and cognizant. I just remember last fall at the fire escaping workshop there, it was excellent, but those residents were also basically saying, I can do everything I can do, but if my next door neighbor or one down the street doesn't participate, that's a problem, that's a challenge. And so we know it's a community effort, period. And I know that Cal Water is doing a lot of work up there, as well as the county and their firefighters. So I'm so glad that we are a part of that. And I know we have to keep on doing that and working with those 4 cities. I want to say thanks to both of you gentlemen for being up there on our behalf. And we already know that we're a resource to those cities. So thank you, EJ, and keeping us posted as to what's going on. And of course, we are working in Division 4 with the Malibu and Topanga areas as they start their recovery and rebuilding efforts too. So thanks.
Thanks, Director Houston. Thank you, EJ. Anything else?
That's all I have.
The, EB 1234 reporting compliance. Any director?
I'm going to turn mine in.
Right, turn yours in, okay. We do have closed session.
Madam President, in consultation with legal counsel staff and legal counsel has no updates related to closed session items.
Director's comments. Director Deere? Director Deere?
Nothing.
Director Alvarez?
I'd just like to congratulate, staff and the board on, entering the final negotiations for an agreement on the operation and maintenance of the, treatment facilities. I think it's been a long time coming, but, it's a very good day. So with that, one comment I have.
That is a very good day. Is that what you said?
I did.
Okay. All right. Director Houston?
Let's see, I would just echo what Director Alvarez said. And again, I've already mentioned it, but thank you to the staff for all the work in this. It was huge, amount of commitment on behalf of the district and the board of directors. And I also will say that's probably one of the shortest meetings we've had, right? Madam President. So thank you for everything our entire staff has been working on as we got through the winter season too with our rain barrels and other events. So thank you very much, Madam President.
Yes, my driver, I'd be 4 hours, and here we're only 2 hours. I think that's really
It's
remarkable.
only an hour and 20 minutes.
No,
We
no.
started.
Late, but that counts as part of the time.
We work as a team. They talk out of, go on, Director.
I'm done.
Did you finish?
Madam President, I forgot one thing, that I did want to make a request. I would like to get a report, for the last 5 years of all of the incidents at the Etsy Little plant or the satellite facilities where we've had a failure like the one we had over the weekend, when we had a ruptured pipeline and we had to serve, water. So specifically what I'm looking for is the nature of the event, such as a broken pipeline or a leak in a pipeline, and the date and what was the associated cost and or response.
Power failures, like the squirrels ate the power line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome, Wendy. Is this your first meeting?
First board meeting.
First board meeting. You can tell we work as a team. And you've heard accolades of the staff. And, you know, it's great to know that all of us recognize that what we do in terms of being successful and meeting our mission really has to do with what you guys do, what the staff does, what the general manager and all of the staff, because we could not accomplish what we do without what, you know, you're doing your job. I know we set policy, but thank you again. You've heard it said many times, but it's sincere. And welcome to the team. Thank you, board members. Gus, thank you for that Rain Barrel program every year. It's always success. And Gus is always there making sure everything is handled. It never goes wrong. So thank you. And with that, I think those are my comments. I have no, are there any future agenda items, board members? Just a request for director.
This is the one, yeah, I'm not
Right.
going to request.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here today. And I see a guest in the audience, see some guests in the audience. So thank you all for being here.
Closed session?
No closed session, no, nothing significant or substantial to report on these items. They're just
Okay.
standard items on the agenda, Don.
Okay.
Aren't you happy about that?
Yeah.
All right.
Being shocked.
Meeting is adjourned. So,